Record too. Hey Mona, how are you this week? It's been from one week to the next, there's always something. It's October. This is
Yeah.
um this is campaign election season, the month before the big day. So how's it going?
Hey, we're in the bunker down and go, and on top of our hurricanes, two back two of them back to back. I mean, it has been stressful. I think I might have pulled a muscle in my lower back. It was putting down sandbags today.
Oh,
I'm
well,
exhausted.
for the shop, you have put down sandbags. Yes,
Yes.
that's good. I have a few here at the house that I will put down tomorrow. But hey, everybody out there, this is What is the Ask? It's actually a few friends coming together. Right now, it's Mona and myself to really talk about the issues that are important to Black folks before the upcoming election. We started this about 2 years ago. And tonight, I can say it's about 28 days before November 5th, which is Election Day. So, welcome tonight. And we're going to talk about several things tonight. But you know what, Mona? I think we should start out with um, the storm, the hurricane.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been living here all my life. I'm 61, and I don't think I think the older we get, maybe you'd be a little bit more concerned, you're a little more aware, but I don't ever recall being this uptight, anxious about the storm that's coming. And I think, and I've seen disasters all over, but I don't know after Helena and what it did here, and it wasn't even a direct hit,
I
but
know.
then what it did in North Carolina. It just destroyed a lot of those cities. And so yeah, I know it's gonna do what it's gonna do. I'm prepared. So I went to work today, and I just have to make sure that everybody space stays safe. And I was trying to help the guy in there when I pulled out one. I was like, yeah, I can't do this. And so they took over. And so now I said tonight, I'm going to go to bed early, get some rest, because we're going to have a long day tomorrow because I cannot sleep when the storm is supposed to be here. I just cannot sleep through it.
It's supposed to come when tomorrow afternoon?
Well, they keep changing, but sometime
Late.
Thursday morning. Thursday morning. We're gonna have rain all day tomorrow, but sometime Thursday morning.
Okay. So, I've been tracking the storm today. We've gotten ready for it. Family members that have to move because they are in either zone A or zone B, or they are in a modular home. We already have arrangements for them. Everybody has shopped. We've got our water, we got our whatever. Tomorrow we fill up bathtubs. All of those things are happening. We've got blocks of put water in these kind of deep pans and put them in the freezer.
Mhm.
Just whatever little keep.
We're expert at this, right?
Yeah,
So for 26 years, when a hurricane would come, all of my family, sometimes we have 10 people over here because my power never goes out.
why
So
why does your power never go out?
I because the all the wiring is underground, so we've never lost power. But we lost power for a couple of hours during Helena, and well, it turns out we didn't lose it. Tico just turned it off at 5:30. I don't know when it came back on, but I went to sleep that night about 11, and 7 o'clock the next morning I got a phone call. So we had, power. They just turned it off. I think they
Mm,
said it was reserving it or something like that.
yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
fine because we're not gonna flood. I'm in a no zone,
Right.
so I'm not gonna flood. Um,
My fear, we're not going to flood either, but my fear is that we've got so many oak trees where I
yes,
live.
yes,
And sometimes the trees just the limbs on the trees just
yeah,
fall
yeah,
just because.
yeah.
So that's my worry is
Mhm.
that the wind will be so powerful that the trees might
So
fall on the condos or something.
do you have your cars outside? Because the city
We
did some
moved
great
ours.
things. They opened up the city
Garage. Yeah.
and so like where I live, Wiregrass, they always say you can bring your cars there to
Hmm.
protect it not from flooding, but trees hitting the cars,
Right.
right?
So we moved where I park. It's covered with trees. So we moved. There are sections that don't have trees at all. So everybody is parking in that section.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah. So this is you mentioned being nervous, and I've been communicating with some of the students at FSU and just other groups that I belong to, and there's a lot of nervousness around this one.
Yeah.
People are extremely nervous. The fact that it's focused or it's coming straight through Tampa is very disconcerting. But my last report that I looked at, it has shifted south.
Yes.
Um, it's still Tampa, but it's shifting. It's on
So
this.
we won't get the eye, it's so
Yeah.
wide.
Yeah,
We get a lot of
I think we will not get the eye. We were expected to get it, but I don't
yeah,
yeah, we will likely not get the eye. And I hate to say on the one hand, ah, that's great.
right.
We deal with all that wind, what have you, but we don't want the eye. But I feel bad for people.
Absolutely. I we was having this discussion today. Oh, I'm just praying that it doesn't hit Tampa. I says, well, I don't like that prayer because it's going to hit some damn well. And you
Exactly.
don't think those people are praying. So do you think your God love you more than them?
Yeah.
I don't understand a God who will even allow any of this, right?
Hmm.
I just don't. So I'm like, if you're gonna pray, let's pray that it just dissipate in the ocean.
Right.
And
It
if it's
was,
gotta rain, just rain. But why does it have to come and do all of this destruction and so many people? One of my customers lived in Port Tampa,
hmm
and their house has been condemned. They didn't have insurance. It's a third generational home. It's just
was this
sad.
this was Helene?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a lot of people are and they were in the house, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I know you guys have been there forever. Like she grew up there, her father grew up there, he was
They
born there.
they were in
And
the house.
I'm sorry.
They were inside the house when it was.
Yes. And it was like, listen, we got to evacuate when they tell you to evacuate. Now, I hear people on Facebook, well, everybody can't afford. Yes, you can, because the city has done as much as it could do. They open up shelters. If
Yeah.
you need a ride to get there, they'll come and get you. You might can't get an apartment, I mean, a hotel. And if you don't have family or friends, well, they got shelters and they're very nice. We went to Milton today, my sister and I, and very nice. And they're trying to make it as comfortable as possible.
Those cots do not look comfortable.
Well, no, of course not. But what I'm saying is, you could bring a sleeping bag,
Yeah.
bring a chair to sit up, you
Bring
know.
your
But
favorite blanket.
what do you want to be alive
I
or
want to be alive. I want to be alive. But
in your house scared batshit crazy, and you got water up to your chest?
that yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Those are the choices. Those are the
Those are the choices. Now, either
uh,
you got I don't believe anybody in any community who don't know anybody that you can't go stay with.
yeah, that's true. That's true. So tomorrow night into Thursday, we'll see what we get.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's gonna do what it's gonna do.
it is going to do what it's going to do. But when you look at the numbers for Helene, where 200 people were unaccounted for or missing,
But they're still
yeah,
finding
of
bodies in people homes here
course
in
they are.
Tampa.
Yeah, yeah. So, with even my mom, it's just kind of like I have to do everything in my power to make sure she's safe.
Oh yes. Same here with my mother. Um, like she generally would be over here, but she's uncomfortable for most parts, the rain. So as long as they have power, they will stay at her house.
Hmm.
And because even if she insists on leaving, it would be difficult, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So um, they'll be fine. Yes. I did finally say maybe the next storm that comes, we'll all go to Michigan or something.
Hmm.
Just leave.
Um, yeah, I'll have my bags and my mother's bags packed and we'll go with you kind of thing.
You can't, you know, like my brother, he's like me. The more the merrier. He would let everyone come, but my friends go that way and
Mhm.
they need somewhere a pit stop.
Oh,
So,
really?
oh yeah, all the time.
I love that.
Yes.
I'm never in Michigan, but if
But
I,
we're very southern and we're just always open. His friends, when they come here, um, they might come down for, say, the Super Bowl. They can't find anywhere to stay. And he's like, oh, you could stay with my sister or my mother. And now when my daughter was small, I was like, yeah, well, they can't stay here if it's a guy with my daughter, but they could definitely stay at my mom's. She knows all of his friends, and but his female friends or people he went to college with, they coming in, they want to go somewhere, whatever.
yeah,
Yes,
you guys are hospitable, very hospitable. Hey, so, Kamala's doing well.
she's doing excellent.
She's running the campaign the way she and her team want to run it, not the way everybody else wants them to run.
Hmm.
And this is textbook stuff. She is really rewriting how to run a campaign
Good
and
for her.
and,
Well,
and how not to set yourself up. She's not setting herself up. She is strategically doing the things that where she can control the narrative.
and wouldn't you want it that way? Because if I'm going to win it and lose it, I want to do it on my terms.
Yeah, but nobody else really has. They always
Right.
fall for the okey doke. I'm going to
Well,
call it okey
they
doke.
think that they have to have their handlers, if and some people are too stubborn, like Hillary Clinton, if she would have pushed back a little or did things her way,
Mhm.
because I just believe that sometimes we know best.
I think we do.
Hmm. And I think she would be an excellent um, president because females are just, I don't want to say better, but better.
We are so much smarter, so much.
Yeah. And we're just sensitive, logical, and we're going to think things out, you know.
Well,
Miss,
we're gonna get to see that, but we're about to get to see that on an international level where
absolutely.
the first Black female president that's coming in, taking the baton from Biden, who has turned the economy around. And she's just going to, her mission, in my opinion, will be to make that next shift where white men are not necessarily the ones calling all the shots.
And so it ain't going to be easy for her, you know that,
Of
right?
course not, especially
Because,
if we don't give her the Congress.
yes, yes, because when Obama won, what did they say? We're going to make sure he's a one-term president, and he caught hell, although he was a two-term, but he certainly caught hell that last term and into the second half of his first term.
Mhm.
And same would be for her. But what I do believe is that she will have the majority to do what she needs this first term.
Yeah.
She because if you just listen to the narrative everywhere, Republican senators are 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 endorsing her.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I feel some kind of way about that, and I want to know what they want. What's the reason? They say that they're doing it to save the Republican, but you won't come out and say anything against him. So I don't really know what the reason is. And now the only thing I would say that I don't want to happen is they let her push us into this war with Israel. I don't want that.
I think, and I've been thinking about this quite a bit. I think she is the difference in her doesn't just stop at the way that she's running this campaign. The difference is that all of us seem to have a piece of her in some way.
Hmm.
Um, and the Republicans, you got the Cheneys on one end and Bernie Sanders on the other. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
All of us in between.
Hmm.
And most of us, even if maybe we don't consciously know it, are supporting her, putting our causes, our personal causes aside, and supporting her for one reason. Mona, I think the one reason is to save democracy.
Sure.
So I have to trust that the Cheneys want to save democracy, but they also want to save the Republican Party. And the only way they can do that is to make sure they lose. And so
Hmm.
all of them have an interest in saving the Republican Party.
Sure.
I don't believe she is necessarily gonna have a big I guess, kind of chain around her neck that she has to make their dreams come true. I'm going to put it that way.
Well, I hope not.
Although she can't, um, she is going to, I think, administer be a president from the center. She is not going to be at the extremes.
Yeah,
She can't be at the extremes with a coalition like this.
right.
She just can't.
I
And most of us will understand that. Uh,
well,
not
that
every,
is that is my fear. I was just saying she will have to stay in the middle. It is so easy
gotta
once you
stay in the
get
middle.
here to try to move a little to the right, simply because I don't know what it is about the Democratic Party. When they get in, generally they do start moving to the right to, you know, the liberals start kicking and screaming and they try to come back over. But for some reason, Democrats want
To appease
approval, I
me.
believe, or
Yeah,
acceptance
yeah.
from the right. And all that does is Cheney will have us in a war against Palestine.
We're, um, war is about to happen, period. It's about to become, we've been talking about peace in the Middle East for a very long time. I've watched president after president in their last term, in the last year of their term, all of a sudden go on this peacemaking tangent where they're going to get peace in the Middle East, and they all go to Camp David or wherever they go, and nothing ever happens. And so we have this phrase in this country, oh yeah, peace in the Middle East, like it's this impossible dream. Well, that's in fact what it is. It is
It's
not
just
going to be something, it is not going to be something that happens without war. That region is not going to experience any major change without war. The folks in Israel, um, are the white folks in that region.
sure, sure, because
And
it's
so
a,
folks want to know, why are you here?
it's a,
And with being here, how do you exude so much power that you are now infringing on our lands even
yeah,
further?
yeah.
So that working that stuff out with all the backing of the Western or the white nations,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's what I was
That's
going
a
to say.
problem. That's a problem.
It's not a war, Israel against the Middle East. It's Israel, the United States, Great Britain,
Hmm.
and those people.
That's right.
And and so
But
I
why?
don't know about the other
But
countries
why, Mona? Why?
because they want power. White people want power. They want control. They think those people are second class citizens, and we are paying for that. Israel could never do what they're doing without America
Never,
backing.
never.
We are killing those people. We are killing them. America is.
I couldn't say.
And Biden, he gets up there. I
But
can remember
why
it.
are we killing those people? And because the
But they
world,
don't value their life. They don't value their life. They
no,
are they're America is what they did when they came here
yeah, that's
to the
correct.
Indians.
Hmm.
Now, they didn't push them out the country, but they pushed them west. And they kept them, like Israel is pushing them to the tip, to the tip, to the tip, till they making them leave. They
Yeah.
want the whole Middle East. And that's how white people are.
I think they want, yeah, they want the
They
certain,
want Lebanon. They want all of it. It's going to be a bloody mess. And eventually America's going to have to. So it doesn't have to be a war if America says no.
we have
Doesn't
to
have to be.
see.
But
So Ta-Nehisi,
America got a whole lot of benefits over there. The oil, the power. They have a lot of interest.
yeah,
And
they are
if we
protected.
wouldn't try to have interest in, let me see, who just said something. Um, one of the senators just said something. They, I'm going to paraphrase. Lindsey Graham, I think it was. He said he didn't give a damn about the people who got hurt or misplaced or killed in Helena.
Yeah,
We have to take care of Israel. Can you believe that? Now
yeah,
I'm paraphrasing, but
yeah.
basically that's what he said.
I can believe it because that's the mentality they had, as you said, when they came on these shores and saw those Indians who were already here and pretty much said, "We don't give a damn. We're
Don't
taking."
give a damn. Look at those people. They look funny. Look at the color. You know. Yeah, we're gonna kill as many as we can, and they did.
So Ta-Nehisi Coates, he
Love it.
the book Between the World and Me, a friend of mine, white friend, gave it to me as a gift, and I think it was probably one of the best gifts I could have ever gotten.
He's an excellent storyteller.
And he's doing what I think needs to happen for Black Americans today. We have to observe, we have to do the research, and we have to tell the stories that were never told.
Yeah,
He does that, and he does that in a very unapologetic way.
yeah.
I like that he is, if you've seen his interviews in the last couple of weeks, I like the way that he is not apologizing for the story he is now telling. So the
Hmm.
book is called The Message, and it deals with his experiences on in 3 different countries.
Hmm.
Um, he went to a couple of African countries, and then he
Synagogue.
Senegal
That
and
was
another place.
that was very nice. I seen that
So
he did a documentary on it.
yeah, so he says here in the first of the books, 3 intertwining essays, Coates on his first trip to Africa finds himself in 2 places at once, in Dakar, and the modern city in Senegal, and in a mythic kingdom in his mind. Then he takes readers along with him to Columbia, South Carolina, blah blah blah. But he ends up on this trip in Gaza.
Gaza.
And he notices the second class citizenship based on the rules things
immediately.
he was able to do that they were not able to do based on their religion, not even so much their color, based on their religion. And he felt that, and it's something that I think we all feel, but most of us dismiss it. He felt that he could not live with himself if he did not tell the truth of what he was seeing and experiencing.
Mhm.
And he's gutsy because nobody talks about what we all know is happening, and that is those Palestinians are being treated the way we were treated during the
Yeah,
Jim Crow era.
yeah.
And
It reminds me, as he never wanted to say it when he kept saying, it just reminded me of here, and I could go back to the 40s and 50s where if whites on the right, walking on the right side, we got to be on the left side.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
some these sundown town cities that we couldn't go into, all of this.
all of that.
And he said that was even worse.
But how do
And they're
we,
all in their own country, in their own land. They
yeah,
had the land first. And it's almost like the Indians when the settlers came here.
yeah,
And once they pushed them west, you bet not come outside of that circle.
right. But this is 2024.
I know.
How in the world do we still have apartheid-like existences, and how do we accept that? And
You know how
I
you know
think
how
we
we
would, I think we would probably accept it more so if we were detached from it. But because of the fact that we send this country, Israel, the billions and billions of dollars every year since 1946, it becomes our problem.
and not only that, I think it became because we've always known,
Right. But
maybe in the
we
90s,
really didn't
that
understand. A
we
lot of
always
not
known.
know, we didn't know we were paying for it.
Oh no, I've always known that
A lot of
we,
folks do not know that
yes, a
did
lot of
not know
folks
we were
who
paying
didn't,
for
but I always known we supported them, right?
it. Exactly.
Only because through our church, my pastor and them used to go over there all the time. And I'm gonna connect something here for you. But the fight that we see this killing, and we saw that killing day after day after day, the internet. And that's what woke people up,
Yeah.
the internet. And then to know, because maybe we didn't know how much, that all the problems we have here financially, and to say that we're sending money over there for them to kill these people. And the church, it seems like everywhere the white man goes, he give his white Bible to the undesirable, so they say. And for our pastors, I was thinking about this a couple of weeks ago when I was reading Coates' outline.
Uh-huh.
Because I can remember when my pastor and them used to go, it was a big deal. It was a big deal. They want to go to Jerusalem. They want to go to Israel.
Everyone wanted to
They want to
go.
go to Bethlehem. And they would come back and tell us the story, show us pictures and all of this. And they're gonna walk the grounds that they Jesus walked. But I'm like, I could never really get into it, right? Because I was like, I could never get in.
We
And
want to
these,
walk the ground that Jesus walked.
they want to walk the grounds that they're Jesus, not our Jesus. That's the white man Jesus. And but they saw the disparity over there and they were okay. I'm talking about Negro pastors.
Pastors, all of them. I've known
White
people that
people
went over
okay,
there.
but I'm talking about Negro
I'm talking
pastors
about Black folks that went over there as well.
who
That
know what your ancestors went through, know the hell that you went through, and you okay with this, and you saying that some Bible that some white man wrote, and that
and
God said this was their land.
but
How do we know God said that? We're gonna find out maybe 50 years from now. There ain't no such thing as a God as we think we know him.
so I think that this really eats at Albert. it just he really hates what is happening
Me
in,
too. I could feel it in here. I could
and
feel it.
he feels it in his gut. And when
Mhm.
I watched Ta-Nehisi Coates talk about it on that one show where the white interviewer was,
Yeah, Tony. I
oh,
can't pronounce his last name. Fucking arrogant. I mean, excuse me.
he was
A
expressing what
freaking
he was expressing the white man's position on this because he could not relate the way that we could or those pastors should have when they went, the ones that you just spoke of.
yeah.
We
He
feel
was
it.
relating to them like, how dare you go
Yes,
against what we have said,
that's
who
correct.
we have said is suffering. You can't believe your lying eyes,
Yeah.
because he did say,
I was
but do
really,
Israel not have a right to exist?
I know.
And he said the
Right.
right thing. He said Israel is resisting, and not only is existing, it's killing off everybody else.
Yeah, yeah. So I said, the question for me was, why do we have such a deep commitment, the United States? I'm not talking about us as Black people, but why does the United States have such a deep commitment? And this commitment has been since 1948, I would say, give or take.
Well, 1948 when they
Yeah.
first signed it.
So I decided how much money first question was, how much money are we sending? And
Billion.
I found that one article, USA to Israel in four charts is what it's called. It's CFR. And we give to a lot of countries,
Yeah.
not just Israel. We give the most money in terms of military and economic aid to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Israel is this small group of white people in this sea of brown people, Black and
Yes.
brown, but I would say brown people mainly. And so since 1946, we have given over $300 billion, right? 300 billion. We've given them the most. The vast majority of that has been spent in military
Yes.
aid.
Mm-hmm.
When the agreement with them was that they would buy their military arsenal from the United States. And that's pretty much the agreement with everybody that we provide military aid to. They buy it from from us, which is that whole complex of that war, why war is good for the United States, because we make all kind of money out of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the vast majority of that goes there, and then a portion of it goes to the economic, building the economic prowess of the country. Next to that is Egypt. We also supply to Afghanistan, South Vietnam, Ukraine, Iraq, South Korea, United Kingdom, India, and Turkey. To a lesser extent, a way lesser extent, we are supplying military aid to these various countries, which means our taxpayer dollars are supplying that. The agreement, though, is that Israel gets the most state-of-the-art military equipment that we make. And if we are supplying to Turkey and everybody else, they cannot get what we give to
Sure.
Israel, because Israel has to emerge as the powerful one that will deter them from attacking Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So the agreement is that we make sure they have the state of the art, latest and greatest, and
We
the
make sure
most,
that there are
and the most,
the dominant ones.
because
He can
that is
build
what keeps them safe. And that is the ability to scare off everybody else because they have the state of the art. That's what we've been doing.
because they're afraid of the brown people attacking America. And they're there to keep them at bay. But
So we have a presence in the Middle East. Otherwise, we would not.
it's not going to last.
And I'm
Because
saying we, the American,
yes, America, yes.
but it It's not going to last. I'm going to go with you on that. We're getting to the breaking point, but that breaking point is not going to occur without chaos to get to the breaking point
Sure.
so it emerges as something else. If Kamala Harris and Ta-Nehisi said this in an interview, and it gave me comfort to know he's voting for Kamala, and he didn't say it, he just indicated that she has to, and he said he's going to keep on saying it, whatever it is that he needs to say to keep it out in the conversation as a discussion. But she is going to have to make a decision at some point, and he wants to make sure that he is a part of that conversation, making sure that it's always out there.
Hmm.
So it's not him saying we need to abandon Kamala Harris and go vote over here and withhold our vote. We need to vote for her, but then we need to push her to do something because from a humanitarian standpoint, it is unacceptable. But
Hmm.
we must take care of ourselves so that we can take care of this issue.
Yes. Do you think she will be able to have the guts to say, because whatever going on in Gaza right now could be stopped tomorrow? Joe Biden, to me, seems weak when he says, we've asked for a ceasefire, we'll ask for this. And I'm like, what the heck? They're using your money, your weapons. Don't send it. Then we'll have it. If he doesn't have enough sense to stop doing, but you know why? They don't care, because that is what they want. That is what America wants. America is the one killing those people. It is not um, the president of Israel. I have a
Netanyahu.
play call. It's not him because he can't do it without us.
I
It's
know.
not him.
I get your rationale. Um, they just like we had Trump for 4 years and then we got him out, but he never left, and there's a chance that he could get back in. And then we'll be under him for a while, and he's going to do a lot of really shitty, stupid things if he gets back in. They voted in Netanyahu. They hate it, but they have him.
Mhm.
And so I'm looking at the fact that we had all of these years where the weapons were not necessarily used against the Palestinians, but and that allowed us to sort of pretend like everything was okay. Well, it wasn't okay. It was a matter of time before they retaliated. They and
No,
I
they've been doing stuff to the Palestinians since the 50s.
right. I'm aware. I'm aware of
Yeah,
the yes, the Intifada and all this other stuff. So I'm
yeah.
aware of those things,
When
but I
you
think
read,
that
I
right
read
now,
something where they used to say they would come in every so often, every 5, 6 years, and they do something called mow the lawn. You heard that phrase?
it's to me, I don't know how this has been off everybody's radar, but now it is, and it is because of October 7th. And
Right.
so now we're all paying attention to how
Yes.
could this happen. And while everybody wants to say, oh, this is really awful, it is awful, but something awful needed to happen before everybody paid attention
But
to it.
what was awful? What was awful? October the 7th to me, I'm sorry, just wasn't awful. It wasn't awful if you haven't done anything but from the 50s come in and do what they call mow the lawn,
Yeah,
killing our children, killing
right.
our children. They were killing and just going there and just shooting thousands of people. And
Yeah.
you do this year and these children growing up, yes, they're gonna want revenge. Didn't
Well,
we want to get away from our capture?
of course, but we didn't go and kill them.
Because we weak too as a group.
I was like, we
So,
didn't go and
but
kill them.
we should have revoked. I mean, and that's what they're doing, and they haven't even been
They
like
are
this.
revolting because nothing has worked for nothing has.
Well,
And
how
then they
many how
then
many
they
years will how many years were we in slavery?
246
Right, and this has only been going on for about 50 years.
since 48. Yeah.
Yes, so It took us, and we still, it wasn't us who, how did we come out of slavery? It wasn't because we resisted and we started to fight back or any of that crap, you know. So we could say a lot and we could learn a lot from them.
We
And
did,
and
come on,
even that
come on. We had revolts. We did have insurrections and revolts, but we would tell on each other
yeah,
in terms of, so and so is going to be whatever, and then I would get rewarded, but all these people would get slaughtered.
yes. Well,
So,
so
so
they
there
do
were,
that too, because I was looking at an interview and I forget what they call the people who would sell them out. They would go in and kill up the whole family, the
Mhm.
Palestinians. Pretty much what we need to do with people like Donaldson, all of our sellouts,
Oh, Byron
Byron.
Donald.
But we don't want to do that. We cannot have these people selling us out like that.
Yeah. Um, So what I think needs to happen for us, as we pay attention to what's going on in Gaza and Israel, I think we have to. Kamala is going to have to deal with that in some way that we may not all understand, because she does have a lot of information that we don't. But
She better
it's
make sure
got
we could get as much as we could get because
but it has to
listen,
be different. Whatever it is has to be different. But Black people don't have to stop what we're doing in terms of
sure.
our own forward
Yeah.
movement in this country in order to help over there. But we can pressure
Yes.
her, because she hasn't had this experience that we have ancestrally with our ancestors as slaves. She hasn't had that experience. Barack Obama did not have that experience, right?
No,
It
no.
wasn't passed on even subconsciously, but it was in us, so we get it. And Africans that come over here, they do not have that experience and they do not understand. So we are the ones who have to tell the stories. So the fact that Ta-Nehisi went over there and said, "Whoa, this is too familiar for me.
he,
No
and
way I'm
he didn't
going
even go
home."
back to slavery. He just said Jim Crow
Yeah, he didn't.
2 years ago.
And it is Jim Crow.
Yes.
Actually, it is more similar. So it was too familiar to him, and he had to come back and talk about it.
Hmm.
But he is brave enough, because everybody who decides to say anything against Israel gets pilloried, and you get kicked off of stuff, and all of a sudden groups come after you, and now your name is dead.
Yeah.
He took a big chance, and he is moving forward to keep that story in the forefront. It's going to be important for this next president that he is not alone, or does not remain alone, telling that story and drawing the connections or the parallels to what happened in this country.
Well, I think you could see from the interview that he had with CBS and I followed a few more, you could see the sincerity. You could
Yes,
see
it's in his gut.
the hurt. You could see the unjust in him,
Mhm.
opposed to other people. And he wasn't really putting anybody down. Like
No,
you look at a Candace Owens, he was just telling the truth. And um, and he's a truth seeker and a truth teller.
and
And you cannot, he's telling you the perspective he got from
right,
seeing
right,
it.
right.
And I know y'all want our oppressors love for us to say, hey, don't believe those lying eyes. Though you're not saying that. No, look what they did to us on October the 7th.
Right. So he is an example of what has to continuously happen in this
Yes.
country. Not just because, even in that I guess it was CBS interview, you had two Black folks.
Who didn't say a damn thing, didn't say a damn thing.
So
And that
you
Gail
gotta
King,
watch, you
see, I
gotta
don't
watch.
like Gail. I just do not like Gail King. I mean,
No,
she
wait,
sat
wait.
up there and it was almost like it was a hit job. Like, did you know this was going to happen? Because
She
did she not have no questions? Because if you didn't have any questions, what the hell are you on the set for?
let me just say this, and this is true for Black people. Ta-Nehisi is making a really big move that most people don't want to touch. Black people in particular in power, or not even in power, but that have money, because their money comes from.
Don't she have enough money? Doesn't she at some point? This
Their
is why we
money
can't move
comes from
forward.
their money comes from the
I
white
know
man
where the money come
who
from.
we don't want to make uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Tallahassee is making people uncomfortable, and you saw that in the white man's. He also looked hurt and just amazed that he
But he
was.
was just mad that how dare you? We
Yeah,
know what y'all think
it's
at
an
home
important
and
moment.
in private, but how dare you come here and say we're the ones that's wrong? We're the ones that
But they
the
are.
audacity of him, but the fight that we can't move forward as quickly as we should have is because of people like, and this is what I say, what is the point in having black people in high places if they're not going to say anything?
Um,
What's the point?
in the
Because
future,
this would be my last time voting for somebody because they black if this woman don't do what she needs to do.
I know, but
If
we will work
she,
on.
and that's
I
only
think
because I'm
the
only
work,
voting for her because
I,
2025.
the
I, I,
work, the work is in Ta-Nehisi Coates. The work is in me. The work is in you. The work is in every last one of us. And I'm
why the
not
work ain't in, why the
talking
work
about
isn't in Gail King and she has a spot? She
the work is in Gail as well. But
she
Gail,
should be able to know how to
she's
come
not
in.
you. She's not Ta-Nehisi. She's not you. She's not
No, no.
Ta-Nehisi.
I
She's
mean,
not
I'm not
you.
telling her to come in as harsh
She,
as I would, but she should know how to be able to come in diplomatic and help the brother out.
she will know this as as the movement around him grows. Too many of us are
It'd be
stuck
too late
in
for it.
our
See,
comfort.
people like her be too late. So it reminds me of this. Listen, let me give you an analogy, and this is just a local.
She has too much to risk. So does Oprah. They have too much
They
to risk.
got they got they got millions on top of millions of
They're not going to
dollars.
be the ones to lead this. It has
But
to
then they
be
need to be
people
pushed
that are
aside
willing
and
to
not
fight.
they need to be pushed aside and you do not speak for us. Okay, so um this referendum at here 568, right? So nobody wanted to touch it. You remember that, right? Connie would go down there every week. She got Keela, she got Daryl. Now that the white man says it's okay for us to talk about it, they get a group, a committee together. And so I have to say, I'm sorry, but Connie has to be the head of the group because not one of those Negroes will come down there and say anything about this.
Right.
And we know what they're doing. We know the playbook. They even changed the name. And the Negroes are saying, oh, well, it's the same. It's not the same because if it was the same, they wouldn't change it.
All right.
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 So we have to make it very, very clear. We have to make it very, very, and that's the problem. We have to make it very, very clear. Brian Donaldson don't speak from us. Gail King don't speak for us. If we need them to come out and say something entertaining, but definitely not political,
Well, the way that you
nothing
do that,
controversial.
I think the way that you do that is you acknowledge.
We stop supporting them. We stop supporting them. We need to say, really, we need to say, as long as Gail King is on CBS, black people will not watch it. As long as Gail King is on CBS, we will boycott every advertisement CBS have and see how quickly Gail King goes. Gail King needs to go.
We're not going to do that though. Whenever you say that this is what we need to do in terms of boycotting, and you're talking about black folks, that ain't going to happen. So
Because see, here's what's going to happen. This guy, Coates, is standing up for us, and he end up being on that island by himself.
he's not going to
And you
end.
see what happened to the football player, right? He stood up. All we had to do was get behind it.
No, but we didn't.
Right.
But I think people are more brave today than they were back in
That was just 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, Trump happened to us. And I think that you've got to, well, Ta-Nehisi Coates would not have come out and spoken against Israel. People are becoming bolder, and when we find those people, those are the people we need to surround ourselves with. He's going on major television networks and he is speaking truth. And APAC hears him. They hear him
Sure,
loud and clear.
sure.
They could go after him. So all of
Well,
this is being
I
evaluated at this point in terms of where does this go from here. I'm gonna venture to say that it will not die because you saw his face. You could tell he's speaking from his gut. It is not going anywhere, and he's not
I,
in.
re I
You can't.
remember when I
Wait, let me
first
make
saw
one more
him.
point. We cannot expect politicians to do what he is doing. We have to be the ones to do it.
Sure.
When and we agree on that. So go ahead and make
Yes.
a point.
Yeah, no, of course. I remember when he went to Congress. You remember when he wrote the um
Uh
thing about
between
reparations?
between you and me.
Yes. And that's when I first said that he would be our next leader.
Wow.
Hmm. That
Okay.
it was a little guy on there.
Interesting.
He's quite young. I think his name is
That is interesting.
Coleman, a black guy, and
Hmm.
they had both of them on there. He's a
Hmm.
Republican, and it's the first time I saw him, and he has a podcast. Coleman, I have to think of his first name. And when this guy, and both of them was quite intelligent.
Hmm.
Coleman was, he was good. Um, but that's going to be our next guy. We cannot let Republicans pick our leaders.
We cannot, but I think too, the fact that he's talking and tying what's going on in Gaza to our experience here in the United States is is the undergirding that needs to happen
Sure.
for what Yvette Carnell and Tone and all of those are doing. They are crunching the numbers and building the case, but underneath that, the stories have to be told and it has to be real for the people that we see on the streets. Make it real for them. We pretend all the time. And
Mhm.
Black people, we allow them to pretend even though we've got the information.
Like everything is okay, and we know it's
Right.
not.
And it's not, and we allow policy to be made that hurts us more than anything else. And they, our friends that we work with and all of that, are like, what's the big deal? Because
Mhm.
they do not understand that what is going on in Gaza is what happened here, and it's as real for
It
them
could possibly
as
happen
it is
again.
for us, huh?
It could possibly happen again.
It
If
can
we, if
possibly happen again, but we have to realize when the storytellers are telling the stories, we've got to echo those stories everywhere. We've got to tell our friends and get them to see the fact that October 7th happened, but it didn't happen on its own. It happened with years and years of poor treatment the Israel citizens did to the Gazans. So we have to make those connections.
well, what we also have to make is because we'll see somebody like Coates, and then you'll see someone like maybe Claiborne,
Mm-hmm.
who will come in and try to shut it down. And we don't have enough sense to say, you got to go. The senator has to go. We, he has to go. Now, if you can't come out and say what he is saying, then you can't come out and say, if you can't come out and agree with what he's saying, okay. But what you can't do is come out and criticize it.
Yeah.
And once they do that, and we have to show them one time, like the mayor in Chicago, the mayor in Atlanta, all of them need to go. I don't care if you're black. We, if you want to be a leader, then you're gonna have to be the leader.
But here's
You
how
have
I,
to be the leader of our people and not do the big. Because you know why Israel could do what Israel do?
Mhm.
Because everybody in Washington, they're like, what's a good word? Streetwalkers. They all bought. They all bought, and you cannot be bought working representing us. You just can't,
Yeah,
because we're fighting for stuff. They're whores, okay? They buy them, and we know. I'm like, what rational guy, man or woman, could get up there on that on Congress and say, I stand with Israel? Who could do? It's not like we're against Israel. I don't. When I start learning about the Jews and the Holocaust, I was affected by that. I thought that was awful. I
right.
really did. I was like, dang, that's just awful what the people did, what Germany did to them.
They
But they're turning
became
around and doing the same thing
they
to these people.
became those their
They're
oppressors. They became
absolutely,
black people.
absolutely
We did not become our oppressors. That's
right,
that's that's the thing.
right.
We did not become, although they thought we were. That's why they're trying to keep us down now. But we never became our
We
oppressors.
do need to straighten up our bikes a little and start pushing back a little with this. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know how a black person could say what's happening over there. I know they're not saying it's okay, but for them to say, well, we understand. No, hell, what are you understanding?
Yeah.
What are you understanding? Because if you treat a dog a certain way at some point, they, they're gonna fight back. And this is what's happening.
So the to just kind of wrap this up, the miracle of what has happened, or and I hate to say October 7th, is that it awakened the rest of the world, us
Yes,
in America.
yes,
And while it is awful what happened, we needed to get engaged, and now we are.
yes,
And we're about to, as a part of our strategy, especially Black folks who identify with the Gazans, if we paid attention, we would.
yes,
We need to strategize. And part of that strategy is putting not Trump, but Kamala in that seat. Now, Trump is a known quantity. We pretty much know what he's going to do.
hmm
Um, Kamala is not a known quantity. And she can't really tell us because her boss has pretty much said this is how it goes. If she goes different, she will lose a lot of the support that she has in order to win this election. On the other side, we we have to not say, okay, she's in, we're done, and be mad at her for the decision she's making. We now have to create that movement that Ta-Nehisi Coates is starting in terms of the discussion around Gaza and the discussion that connects to Yvette Carnell and Tone and all these other people. There is a discussion that needs to be had, and unless we figure out that he's our leader, let's say that he is, you kind of said you thought that he might be,
hmm
let's make it so. We make it so, but we make it so around relevant issues that tie what is happening now, contemporary issues, to what happened in the past that this country has buried so deep that nobody wants to talk about it.
So I'm gonna disagree with you on one thing. We do know who she is. We do know who the vice president, and I could almost guarantee you $1 she would she is gonna govern the same way Biden has. because what we don't understand is that these people don't run that office. It is groups like the Heritage Foundation. It is groups like Saros. It is those people who's funding her, putting her there. She will push their narrative. That's the bottom line.
So yes, I understand why you're saying that, but I
Because
think that
Trump's not making any laws. We just don't like Trump. Like Biden, he cannot, even if he wanted to stop sending.
Trump's not making any laws because he's an idiot, and he
Right,
knows that. But
right.
laws are being made for him, as you just
Yes,
alluded to, the
yes,
Heritage Festival
yes. And
by the
laws will be made for her too.
right.
Laws will be made for her. Now they have agreed with some of her outline. He just didn't have any. They might have agreed with some of her outlines, like she wants to do the 3 million and whoever her handlers are, and they probably say, okay, that is something we could do. That'll be, but here's what we're gonna do
If she
here,
got all
here,
this
here,
other
here.
stuff, where's she going to get the money? But the issue is, yes, my hope is that Trump came in and he really did break the system. He broke
Sure,
a lot of that.
sure,
If
he
he
did.
broke it, if he broke it, she doesn't have to come back and do exactly what has been done in the past. Now, I do understand the divisions in government and the accountability and who makes the laws and who executes and who, I get all of that. But I believe that she will be a more visible negotiator and player than we've seen in a long time. And she's smart. Trump wasn't smart, and he had a whole lot of people trying to handle him, and he went through all of them. But they tried to handle him. They've always handled that seat, but not with Trump, at least not to the extent that he wasn't able to break through, and he broke through, and we can see now exactly how that, not exactly, but for the most part, how it's done and how it's made. And he fought against a lot of that. So if he gets back in, he's already said, I pretty much know how it works now, and I'm pretty much going to do as I want to do.
Mhm.
Can't let him get in, but we can let her get in because it is broken. We can see that it's broken. And now we are going to have to be a smarter group, kind of like MAGA, but not crazy like MAGA and stupid, smartly coalesce around messages like the one Ta-Nehisi's putting out there, Yvette Carnell, what have you, and begin moving and pushing policy. We have to push. We cannot sit back.
Sure.
And then she has to respond. She's going to have to respond, but she's got to balance that with a whole lot of other things, because what she's going to start doing is things that's good for everybody. And we're not going to be mad at that. We're not, because people need to be in a place where by the time they have to drop millions on this group of Black folks to pay them back for whatever, you're going to have more people shaking their head yes than not.
Mhm.
We have to build the conditions and the infrastructure for that. And that is not going to be something she does per se. It's going to be something we push her to do, but we're pushing society to do it at the same time. We can't get it without it. It can't happen without it. You make one more comment, and then I want to get to one last point.
Let's go to the next one.
All right. So it was on Kamala. Kamala was on 60 Minutes.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
You want to talk to me about your thoughts about her on 60 Minutes. But I want to say before you do that, 60 Minutes was right on time when they said, we invited both of them to come speak, and both of them agreed. And then they explained exactly his shifting excuses. And I thought 60 Minutes was brilliant to not do what normally happens. They'll say so and so couldn't come because, and like dog ate
Make
my
an excuse.
homework.
No,
Yeah,
they say that. They
Right,
say
right.
it's the
But they
liberal,
didn't.
60 Minutes is liberal, and they were on her side.
Well, I don't care what they said. What we got was finally
The
a
truth.
show that was telling us what we needed to know. And that's part of the indicator that the world is shifting now.
Yeah,
And the fact that we are calling people liars now
I
instead
know, right?
of truth, whatever it was we used to say. I used to be it's like, that's just a lie. It's a bald faced.
It's just a lie. We all grown
Everybody
here.
is saying lie. So we're seeing that shift, and this is all Trump. That's why we are seeing this shift.
Yeah.
She needs to capitalize on that. Now, girlfriend goes on 60 Minutes, and your thoughts.
Well, being that she had it to herself, she was able to, because I didn't catch the first. Actually, I remember it was supposed to be on. I got a text from you saying it, and I said, "Well, I have to look it up." You texted me back saying, "No, it's on now," and I was like, "Oh, wait, what's the day?" It came on Monday, right?
Mhm.
So it was a special. So, did I learn anything? Not really.
Right.
Did I like her questions, her answers? Some of them. But for her to have it there, people to see, I think she's going to do great. I think she's going to do great
Tell me more. She's gonna do great. What do you mean?
as president.
Really?
Mhm.
I would never have guessed you would have said that, but
No, I think she's going to do great. Now, do I think she's going to do great for us? But for what they're, what Democrats do as a whole is pretty much stay in the middle. And they understand that they got to get middle class, working class people up.
right.
And that's what she's going to do. That's what the power to be wants that. And she's going to do that.
But what
Now,
about what somebody said to me to the point you're making, and I'll let you keep going. She is focused on the middle class, and I think that is good. There's a lot of people that fell out of the middle class and are poor in under the Trump's administration, as much as he doesn't want to say it, but there's a lot of people that fell out because of COVID. Um, she's going to help build up the middle class, where the middle class is either working for somebody or working for themselves. That becomes a bigger possibility as well, as long as you're able to put up $50,000 and get the tax credit.
yeah,
People just don't
yes.
pay attention to that.
And
She's building the middle class, I guess, is the point that I'm
right.
making, and
She is
that
not going to be able to lift
pulling
everybody
people
up.
up.
Now,
Yeah.
will some people come up? Absolutely. She's not going to be able to lift. And, the majority of blacks, I believe, are going to do well.
I think so.
The 30% at the bottom will not. But that's going to be irregardless who it is. And that is what we're going to have to fix. That is what we're going to, because you should not be able to be an American citizen and work 40 hours a week. And you got people working 2 and 3 jobs now
Yeah.
and still can't afford rent.
Right, but
That,
if you look at poverty level, you've got, according to the Census Bureau, white people, the poverty level is 8.2, 8.6%. It is exactly the same for Asians as well. They're around 8%, give or
but
take.
I'm talking about all Americans, not just blacks.
But if I look at Black folks, and if we are talking about all Americans, I agree, we're at around 17%, and Indians are around 21%. So if we look at who stands to gain, I think Black people stand to gain. We should be around 8% poverty,
right,
but there's 8% of us that can move up into middle class. It should be around 8% across the board if, in fact, most of us didn't have the thumb that held us down.
right,
Ours
right.
is too high, and we've got some of the
Sure.
smartest people in the country.
Yes. And that's a problem. And that's going to be the problem because no matter what, we as a race, as a whole, cannot think we're doing good are surviving, because that's what a lot of us middle class are doing. Is really just surviving.
Right.
Maybe we might be thriving a little, but our people at the bottom, they're catching real hell.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the people, if you really look at the YouTubers, channels, the people that's against the Democratic Party, not just her, because I don't think people are necessarily against her. They're against this party. And this party got to figure out something to do to bring more people back into the middle class.
Right.
That's, but
And that's her platform.
on the 60 minute, um, I the second part was the most interesting.
Okay.
You remember when they were interviewing the election deniers?
No, I didn't see that. I
You didn't
only.
see the, you didn't see the second part?
Mm-mm.
So they
Okay.
were interviewing this one lady, and it just stuck out to me. But they was interviewing this guy and how hateful that these people and how and I'm not saying hateful, it's in their bloodline. It's the way their ancestors was, and they had gone down from because they I hear people saying, "Oh, I would never be a slave owner." Yes, you would, because the attitude you have now, though your thinking, your way of thinking now towards black people, towards brown people, towards this country, okay? Who could come in and who can't come in, who's entitled, who's not entitled. But it was this one lady who yelled, and I forget where she was, what county they were in, and they were talking about one of the governors, or maybe it was a city clerk or somebody, who said that Trump really did lose the election at that particular county.
Hmm.
And the hate and the look in this woman's face who said that they wanted to hang the white man. And the first thing I said, I could remember, you know, how they show pictures in the 40s and 50s when they were all around a tree, all the white people just looking up
I know
at
that picture so
black
well.
hung body, sometimes burnt bodies.
Right.
And I said, this is really who these people are. And I remember us having a discussion, and you say, who are these people? Why are they voting for him? Because they're their ancestors. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, because I was supposed to do a check, that they really do admire Hitler. And I think I heard, I'm not sure, that Trump family is from Germany. Is his
That's true.
are they? It's true. So yeah, it's in their blood. It is in they, and they really feel, and they're afraid that they're losing power. And they are going to lose power.
They're losing power, and that's a fact, as you say. So they're fighting. They're fighting, and we just have to understand that and fight back. She is going to win the election like you predicted months ago.
Mhm.
They are going to fight that.
Oh, but now let me tell you what they ain't going to do. We're not going to have another January the 6th, right? Because they were allowed to do.
What you not gonna do?
Yes, absolutely. What she's going to, because they hold the power. The Democrats hold the power.
Yeah.
All of them will be shot. All of them will be in jail. It wouldn't be all this long time that it's taking.
So
Even
that
this woman, have you seen the anything from um the lady Tina Peters from
mhm.
Colorado, who
that,
just got
that
sentenced,
that
denied?
yeah, that was crazy.
But did you hear the judge? I just he was so brutal and so raw when he gave his
And
decision.
she was
Oh
so white supremacist. She no. I really loved listening to him. Give
yes.
her give her
Oh
those
my, he brought her down to earth. And when she got up to speak, I said, sister, even when I was listening to it, like, that ain't gonna go well. You looking down on the judge, you telling the judge he's wrong, you telling the judge he didn't get it, you telling the judge you didn't have a fair trial.
she needed a magnetic mattress. She needed it was
Yes,
crazy. It was it
and see,
And they think that that is okay. They think that the rest of
they think these laws aren't meant. They don't think they know. All before these laws weren't meant for them. We've
yeah,
had a two-tier system in America, and it was okay when our black asses was going to jail. Okay, but how dare you think I could go in there, like she said, with all those real criminals? Like, B, what do you think you are?
yeah.
I know you think you're above the law.
Yeah, she doesn't think
And
she,
they have been above the law for so long that this is the reality. And they see, and this is why Pamela has to win because we got to get, it's funny, they're the party of peace and law and order, right? And only for us.
right.
But just about all of the January 6 people, even though I don't believe that they got the sentences that we would have gotten,
That's
but
correct.
nevertheless, they're there.
Yeah, that's true. We they got light sentences compared to what Black people would normally get. Um, yeah, it's Kamala will go in, she will win. Um, there will be a lot, she will govern from the center and she will focus on the middle class. And all those things that she says she's doing or wants to do, she cannot do without the House and the Senate. It would all get shut down, and then we would be mad at her because she didn't do nothing. But actually, we didn't work our butts off to make sure Rick Scott was no longer in the Senate. We have to make sure Rick Scott is not in that
Well, I'm gonna
Senate.
tell you right now, Rick Scott isn't gonna win. Ted Cruz isn't gonna win. Now, what
You
happens?
go, that girl predicting again.
What happens when we give her the house and she don't do what we ask her to do? Now, what happens?
You got to have the House and the
See,
Senate.
now that's where the problem gonna come in. I say, what happens if she gets the House and the Senate?
She's going to do what she says she's going to do,
Oh,
not what. No,
no, no,
no,
no,
no, no,
no.
no, no.
We want her to do what we want her to do and what she said she was going to do
I
because
know,
all
but
these other people are
you
going to
say
get what they
we,
want.
you say we like it's Black people that are actually going to be the only votes that put her in that seat.
No, I said those other people are going to get what they want too. I'm not saying we're the only ones going to get what we want.
All right.
They're gonna get what they want too.
All right.
Now,
So
let me
watch
tell you who would
when
keep
they
her
get.
out. Let me tell you who could keep her out that seat. Black women's.
Yeah, but Black women are skiwi and whatever, and those Divine Nine folks, they are bought into that. They're not your reparations group. They just are not.
No, not yet. And we don't need them.
Exactly. So you got to
We
build.
don't need them to be either. But the fact of the matter is, these people, and they want stuff too. They want all. I believe all black people want the same. She's going to have to go in there, and I'm not talking about reparation, but she's going to have to go in there and do something with this justice thing. She's going to have to go in there and get the voting rights back in. She's
Will,
going to. I'm talking about things that
yes,
Biden was supposed to do.
that
She's going to have.
she will do that
But he didn't do it,
if
and
she has it.
he had the opportunity to do it.
She will sign what goes to her desk, which means somebody's got to get it to her desk. So we got to
No,
make
she's gonna have to
sure.
go in. She's gonna have to go up there, get her people, get the vice president to go over to the Senate and the House and push it. That's what they do. She wants a bill to come to her
That's
desk,
what they used to do. Have they done that in the
but they
last
but they still got to do it.
decade? That's what they used to do.
Yeah,
Right now, you're going to have to win that Senate.
people gonna have to work for
They're
they
gonna-
for these paychecks
It's
because
going to
this is
take
gonna be the this
Mitch
is gonna be the
McConnell. Mitch
last.
McConnell is
This
still
is
going to
gonna
be
be the
there.
last free election for black people because even now people still are saying that they don't want to vote for the Democratic Party. You should see how many times I'm on these um, podcasters, and I don't dispute what they say per se. And I says, well, the alternative is we're living with Project 2025. Me at 61, I can live with Project 2025. But I certainly don't want my daughter for the next 50 years and her children and their children, because it will be affected maybe 3 to 4 generations if this Project 2025 get into law.
Right.
And so we have to keep pushing that.
We do.
And we have to really make these people understand, the Supreme Court, they couldn't have never overturn um, the abortion if Trump wasn't allowed to appoint 3 justices.
Right. Right.
And he's in line if he gets it to appoint 2 more.
That's correct. Because
And
those,
he's going to appoint 2 young people.
that's correct. All of that. So we need to get Kamala in. We agree that there will be things that we need Kamala to do. And you're right, you mentioned the Voting Rights Act. I'm going to say reform the Supreme Court. I'm going to say DC statehood. There's a lot of things that can put a black friendly infrastructure in place that allows you down the line to have reparations for your child or whatever.
Yes.
To make it easier for them, we need to make it easier for them to influence and push policy that are Black specific. Right now, that is not the case. We need to tell the stories, like I said, but also push her to push those policies that create an infrastructure that allows us to be more influential in policy making. Right now, we're
And
not.
even if she can't do what we want her to do, if we could see where she said, I'm putting policies in, maybe I would not, it won't come to fruition under my policy. But the next Democratic, but it's here, and it'll be for the next Democrat. Like when these mayors do stuff, the River Walk, it wasn't Jane
Yeah,
project, it was Bob Buckhorn.
right. In terms of when it happens.
So,
Yeah, I agree. I
so
agree.
but we have to see these things, and we know that this have not been happening.
I believe you're going to see it. I believe those are with the Congress, you will see those things. All right, real quick. I voted. I'm done. I voted. Whoop, whoop.
I haven't done mine yet. I was supposed to. Maybe I'm going to be home tomorrow.
I voted. There it is.
All
There
right.
it is.
I,
So I mailed it yesterday, and I'll probably wait until the beginning of next week to get confirmation that they got it. And I got to tell you, the feeling was really great.
how
The
many amendments they had?
um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like 7 or 8. In fact,
Okay.
I
Yeah. So 6 federals, 6 states, and 2 for the city.
yeah, okay. So it was. And I sent it out to all of my family in terms of what I voted. And you and I don't agree on everything, and I can tell you a couple we don't. But for the most part, I looked up all of the judges to see who appointed them
Mm-hmm.
and who they were affiliated with, what
Mm-hmm.
governor, and that's how they got a vote. Most of them no, except one. Yes, Charlie Crist, I think, appointed one, but I think he might have been a Republican when he did that. But for the most part, we could win this thing.
Yeah, I don't think that we all have to agree. When I send out my slate, I'm going to always have 1 or 2 people who say something, and I'm like,
I
yeah,
get that in
it's
my
not,
family.
it's not about following this. This is a recommendation. It is for you to really do. Now, what I do say, these amendments, because you haven't really done the study of the work or any of those, we must follow those, because those 2 amendments that was put on by the citizens have to get passed,
Yeah,
and the ones that was put on by the state, that's up to individuals.
yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna see if you can see. This is what It's like 2 pages of this, and I highlighted exactly what they needed to do.
All right, send it to me because I haven't even got my ballot yet. I'm supposed to, because my stuff still goes to my mom's.
Yeah, like my sister's like, "Oh, no to Cindy Stewart." And I said, yeah, but you know what? I know you work for her, that's your boss, but I'm going to tell you right now, the Republicans are putting together an infrastructure in this country that goes from the local all the way to the big house.
Yeah, but Victor Chris that's a hot one. Well, she works for Sydney Stewart. She doesn't like her.
Yeah, she doesn't like her. But,
Well, it's
anytime I see Cindy Stewart with Florida Rising, I'm pretty satisfied with the work that she's doing.
yeah, me too, me too. I wasn't in the beginning, um, but look, you know this, like Ken Hagen
I
and
mean,
him and a few others, they could go. They're more in the middle. They're more in the middle. He has helped the Democrats, helped the Black community. People love him.
I know, and I'm not a Ken Hagen. I'm totally not. I didn't go with Ken but I knew that he was loved by several people in the Black community.
Well, this time around, I never vote down party, right? But I am, with the exception of one, Kathy Castor. Some things I am not going to hold my nose and do. Some things I'm going to stand on grounds and principle. Um, I probably would leave that blanket, and if she wins, she just win without my vote. I can say I feel good. I know my one vote don't count one way or the other,
Well,
but I
well,
feel
let me consider this, my dear friend, consider this. And I said this to my sister I said, so you really need to understand what your goal is. It's not about the people. It's about the avenue that it will take for the party that you belong to begin positioning itself in such a way that you're starting to get what you want. We have to figure out how to get the seats. Now,
well, I disagree simply because the city of Tampa, I believe everybody on the city of Tampa city council are Democrats. County
all
commission,
all of them.
all of them. We got 7 Democrats that holds city council right now. County commission before the board flipped, it was 5-2 Democrats.
Mhm.
We've had it and we never still get what we want. We demand, we ask, and it doesn't work for poor people. So it's the poor people who put your ass there. And we got to make these people understand that you work for us. You're not my leader. I don't respect you. I don't look up to you. You work for me. You have to do what. And they too, even our local people, they do what Tico want. They do what who they horse to because they do who pay them. And that's what's got to stop. And they don't believe it. But if we will pull back and I'm talking about just in East Tampa or just the Black community. If we say we're going to get behind any of these people who at large, and if we say we're going to hold that vote, they will understand the power we have. We
Right.
will understand the power we have.
You
But
keep
we'll
giving
have so
me.
many people who say, um, oh no, like people will tell me, like Kim Overman, I didn't vote for her either. I didn't. I voted for Josh, and it's like, look what Josh is doing. Okay, what did Kim do when she was there? What did she do? She
Mhm.
didn't do anything for you Negroes. She just didn't. And I am tired of getting screwed. I don't get a thank you.
Did you vote for Shay?
No, I did not vote for Shake
Oh,
because
let me just go on down the line for the primary. Did you even vote for Shake?
no, I voted for Elvis.
Hmm. Somebody posted something a couple weeks ago, and in fact it was Schamberger. apparently, Akins, Akins, it's not Akins. Ooh, what's the,
I know you're talking about superintendent.
wait, the superintendent had his, evaluation, and the only perfect score he got was from Shake.
Always, always. And listen,
I had to just laugh at that to say,
I
well,
understand,
he didn't even give himself a perfect score.
but I understand who he is, how he grew up. What I don't understand is us who keep putting this man back in office. I don't understand that. I don't understand because he's nowhere. He's not representing us. Our children and our schools, it looked like, and this is what makes me mad because these people know, and they're using him too. He's a puppet. Okay, he. It just makes me upset that people are going to say we're just going to vote for him because of name recognition. And your fucking children are failing in school. Your schools are failing. They're raggedy. Y'all don't have any amendments. They don't even take the kids on trips. And he's okay with it because he's getting the side. It got to be about more than money. It just got to be about more than money.
He's,
And if it's about money or power, if people are looking for money or power, we cannot put them in office right now. We just can't.
I don't think for him it's about money
Oh,
or,
it's about money because our power because he doesn't need money. So he's helping somebody
well,
because
it's not
why
about
would
money.
he run again? Why would he run again? He know that
There's
he
a
doesn't know that stuff. He knows that he sits up there.
position. It's a position. It's not that he's wielding any real power, but it's look at me. I've reached the pinnacle of,
Yeah, but you did, but you're not gonna at some point say because this make me think that at some point you have to be able to say, I've done all the good I could do. I don't want to hurt the community. It's time to pass the baton.
yeah, he's not been there that long. So
He did one. He shouldn't have even gotten that. He did one term.
I agree that,
It's the
uh,
same thing like with Biden. We will not say that it enough is enough.
yeah. Well, finally Pelosi said enough is enough.
Well, her ass need to go too, though.
Well, she tried to go, I think, at one point. She's trying to go. I
How
think,
she's trying to go? You just don't run for re-election. What do you mean you're trying to go?
and she won't run for
You
reelection.
should have ran the last time. And I'm not talking about Speaker of the House. I'm talking about she don't need to be in the Senate.
Right. I don't think she's going to run again.
Yeah.
That's that's my guess. I don't have any inside information. Me and Pelosi don't have it like that. But yeah, so that is it for this week. Next week we'll see where things go with Kamala and her opponent, the walking idiot. You know, he's getting worse and worse. He's getting worse and worse
He's
with
losing his mind.
his lies are just ridiculous.
Yeah. He could smell the blood. He could start seeing it in the water.
Yeah.
And he know he's losing
He's
that
like
grip.
rabid. He's almost, it's almost scary to watch what is he about to say. And this whole hurricane thing, all that misinformation is coming from one man and then those sycophants around him. That group is spreading all of that information, that misinformation, disinformation rather. But anyway, we can talk next week, and always good to talk to you.
You as well. Stay safe.
You too, definitely. Mhm. Do not want to do that.
Yeah, that was good. Did you know I found this article I was doing? I don't know how I came up on this